Ah yes, issue 40, the worst issue in the comics so far, which turns me off from its premise alone. Sonic has every reason to be enraged with Antoine over this, and it makes me wish he was actually allowed by the writer to slam him into the bars. This is a story that never should have happened. Again, it wouldn't be so bad if the punishment Sonic was being given was less steep. Something like, no chili dogs for a month. That would be a lot less overly depressing and infuriating than his own friends trying to put him in prison. You know, where he won't be able to fight Eggman? Nobody. Not Rotor the genius, or Sally the brilliant tactician. None of them realized how this would backfire. This is an idiot plot in a nutshell. They're stuck with Sonic whether they'd want to keep him in prison or not, because sooner or later they'd need his help. Nobody realizes this. But what's worse is that all Sonic's friends are now conspiring against him, which is only really in character for Antoine. Do they really have to put Sonic in jail for supposedly disobeying one order? What is this, a dictatorship? If these guys were my friends, I'd be really uncomfortable. I wouldn't feel safe around them. Why would I trust people that I can't trust enough to try to ruin my life over one act of disobedience? What are they, a criminal gang? I bet gangs don't like it when you disobey them either. This whole conspiring to put Sonic in prison thing makes the Freedom Fighters feel less like a genuine group of friends and more like a military organization of child soldiers who will do horrible things to anyone who doesn't march in lockstep with their every order. There's no warmth and love in them here at all, no sympathy. Just Sonic being treated like a criminal. And they don't even have an apology, and Sonic having a grudge against them for this in the end, like would be realistic. What would be even more realistic is if this punishment didn't happen at all. True friends would have just been happy he wasn't a robot anymore and gone easy on him because obviously being turned into a robot slave was punishment enough. I love Sonic's comeback to Antoine here. It's like an awesome "the reason you suck" speech. Even more awesome since he was the one who brought the charges against him, so maybe if it weren't for him, Sonic wouldn't be in this situation. He says, "You're only in charge because everyone important is helping to rebuild Knothole. You're just a babysitter." Yeah, tell him off, Sonic. Sadly, Antoine isn't really affected by the speech. And then he shows that he has an ego the size of a house, planning his parade over his coronation. Coronation as what? And what has he done exactly to earn that? And Sonic has a point. He should be out there helping, but instead he's stuck here. You know, Sally, when even Sonic is realizing how stupid your decision is, maybe it's for the best that you give up. I don't think Sonic is stupid by any means, but he's definitely more of a street-smart jock than anything. I love how Amy makes her grand return here by forming a protest over Sonic's situation, and how he really appreciates this with a happy smile and everything, calling her his best pen pal. I miss the days when he had this kind of genuine liking of Amy Rose for being an admirer of his, rather than hating her for the same reason. This makes more sense for someone with an ego. I like this, like it makes perfect sense that Amy would do this, like they're not forgetting about her character. I also like that Sally says she's sweet and wishes that it were only that simple. So she's still kind of on Sonic's side, but she's being very lawful stupid here, which to be honest is almost just as infuriating as chaotic evil. Why would Rotor even ask her if he'll be acquitted if he should know that it's pointless to say that? It's a good thing King Acorn's shown to have some intelligence to him and that everyone's following a disaster plan he had made. Backup units for most of the heavy equipment had been stored underground at the jailhouse miles from Knothole, so transportation is underway. So we get an actual character trait being given to King Acorn after over 40 issues by explaining that normally he always thought ahead, just like Sally does. I guess that's where he gets it from. So he always thinks ahead, except for when Robotnik betrayed him. He should have had a plan for that. Especially since he's a king, and dictators tend to be pretty paranoid in real life because obviously their populace isn't happy, so people are going to be conspiring against them. You'd think that he would have a plan for anybody betraying him. Have bodyguards already on standby, although I guess they wouldn't be able to handle swap bots. Strict bylaws. You're fucking royalty! If you don't like the law, change it! Idiot! I don't feel sorry for her in this situation because she's choosing to do this, when she could easily not do it. At least she cares, but not enough to do the right thing. Screw showing gratitude to the person who saved you countless times. What's clear is that the system stinks. I love that line from Sonic too. I share in your outrage, Sonic. And why the hell is Sonic still being given chili dogs, stale or not, when he's in prison? Again, depriving him of these things would be a much better punishment than this, both logically and humanely. So Sonic's being sentenced at a literal kangaroo court with banishment. This issue fucking enrages me. This is the thanks I get for saving your life? I love that line from Sonic, because it's exactly what I've been saying. Although you'd think that if the writers thought to have him say that, they would have also thought to realize that Bunny is being out of character here. In fact, Bunny has a major out of character moment here by saying one of the most ungrateful asshole things you could ever say to that. That's old news. Saving your life was old news. So you're basically saying that you don't give a shit that you saved your life earlier. That it doesn't matter to you that someone saves your life after enough time has passed. Well, I never liked you anyways, a Texas stereotype. She must not have cared about him that much then. You'd expect better from the token, bland, nice girl. I expect treachery from Antoine, not her. Man. And I used to like her. I guess I will later, but ugh. And she even says that she's going to act like his enemy because her arm has a hedgehog hunter in it. A guided missile that will murder him if she wants to. So she is perfectly fine with murdering Sonic the Hedgehog. The hero, who the world would be helpless without. She has no hesitation, no qualms with that whatsoever. Why is Sally the controversial hated one again? Egomaniacal. Yeah, that's great coming from Antoine. And I love Sonic saying, "Your finger, move it or lose it." Although it does remind me of Scourge, like it sounds gangsterish. I can imagine that he'd actually carry out that threat. I wonder if Sonic actually being sentenced to prison and staying there long enough would be the one bad day for Sonic to snap. Anyways, Antoine goes around being an extremely harsh and out-of-line prosecutor, to the point of making a little girl cry. Yeah, that's just barely not crossing the moral event horizon there. And it's only then when Sally scolds him for it, even though he's been intimidating the rest of his own friends before that point. If anything, it's him who deserves to be banished, not Sonic. Especially since he's infinitely less useful to them. The amount of times he's been useful by this point can be counted on one hand. There was the time that he snatched a ray gun from Eggman, but didn't use it on him, so the world wasn't free. And he came in with a hot air balloon, and that was about it. I can't think of any other times he was useful. If Knothole's being run under King Acorn laws, well, I don't presume that the court systems of King Acorn had allowed for this kind of behavior from the prosecutor. Was this kingdom a dictatorship? Not to mention that even making such a biased person a prosecutor in the first place shouldn't be legal, because he had a personal interest in getting Sonic in jail, and it's obvious from his behavior. This is the kind of behavior that would get even a member of a jury kicked out for bias. And I like how Sally angrily interrupts Antoine's egotistical bragging, as if she's still Sonic's friend, and gives Sonic a chance for a rebuttal, which he takes with another line I love, calling Antoine Tin Soldier. Right now he deserves much worse than that, including insults that shouldn't be uttered in polite public, making me wonder what exactly the difference is between him and Patch at this point, because Patch would probably conspire against his Sonic too, in the same way. But anyways, Sonic points out that Antoine had failed to notice that Fang had escaped from the cell next to him. How the hell does Sonic know that Fang was the one who knocked him out, when he was unconscious the entire time? By the time he had been roboticized, Fang had already been kicked out. He had his eyes closed the whole time. He didn't even get to see Fang before he dropped a dumbbell on his head. Am I expected to believe that he was still able to hear him after a dumbbell was dropped on his head? Like I said in the Amnesia episode, Mobians have very thick skulls, so I can understand why that didn't kill him. It's not like he's a human. I find it kind of satisfying seeing Antoine reacting nervously to Sonic basically blaming him for everything that had happened. And I love how Sally yells at Antoine for it, telling him off, and he tries making stupid excuses. Although honestly, I think even if he had noticed Fang's escape in time, they wouldn't have been able to find and catch him before he'd have carried out his plan, depending on how far back exactly Fang had escaped. Sadly, I'm not expecting Sonic's rebuttal to actually be listened to. He'll probably get in trouble anyways. I like how Sonic tries to stand up to Bunny. Seriously, I was not expecting her to be just as much of a traitor as Antoine is. But I don't understand how he could turn his hands into buzzsaws and shred the handcuffs. Knuckles I could understand because he has spikes on his knuckles, but with Sonic this magical power of his comes out of nowhere with not even a slight thin justification. You'll notice that I'm saying I like a lot of things in this story, although mainly it's the fact that sometimes Sonic's friends side with him, or I love Sonic's cathartic, angry lines and situation. So maybe this story is better than issue 39, which had pretty much nothing good in it at all. But honestly, the big reason I hated issue 39 was because it led to this issue. If Sonic hadn't been in huge trouble with his friends after being turned into a robot, it would have been fine. So, I don't know, I guess both are equally bad. At least Sonic's punishment was banishment and not literally keeping him locked up in prison to go insane or break out. So he could still in theory fight Eggman, just an arm's length away from the freedom fighters, and homeless so that he'd have to live out in the pouring rain and freeze to death in the winter, and be abandoned by all of his friends so he'd have basically no loved ones. Nope, still a horrible punishment, still inhumane. Just not as stupid as before, since he could still fight Eggman, but without the freedom fighters around to coordinate him with actual plans to follow. Information for him. He might just get himself killed running into danger that he's not anticipating. And that could lead to him being roboticized again, and then kept in prison for real that time just to be safe. Which would lead to him going insane from solitary confinement and being forced to stay still in a cell for too long. And once Nuthole would be inevitably destroyed, he'd be broken free from the prison being destroyed, and possibly end up wreaking havoc on the people who put him in that situation. Like how Fleetway Sonic went insane after being forced to stay on the moon for too long from being banished from his homeworld, and basically went insane and went supersonic and killed everyone and destroyed the future. Great going, guys! Some people really do deserve special treatment, and if it's not the hero of the world, who else would deserve it? Fortunately, Sally agrees to delay the sentencing for 24 hours to help Sonic clear his name, and gives Sonic a wrist-lock tracker device instead of an ankle device for some reason, to make sure that they'll be able to monitor where he is. I like that she does this and wishes him good luck, as is Rotor, and one of the random members of the jury is smiling too, proving that he was on his side. Although I fail to see the point of a jury when none of them were allowed any say, and instead the verdict was decided by higher-ups. Maybe he was just in the audience, then. It's hard to tell from this camera angle. Sally being dressed like royalty for once just makes her look less sympathetic in the situation, rather than her being dressed informally like normal. It only drives home the point that if she's the one in charge of everything, she should just change the law and let Sonic go. But she doesn't because she's being an idiot. Come on, you can't tell me that everybody in Knothole is opposed to Sonic being free. That one smiling random civilian proves my point. And Amy Rose. I'm sure there wouldn't be too big of a public outcry, since Sonic is necessary for the world. Anyways, Eggman spots Sonic running along the mountains thanks to an invisible camera somewhere, and complains that ever since Robotropolis was destroyed, his supercomputers have been offline. Eggman has to calculate Sonic's position manually as a result of that. I kinda like that. It shows off that he actually is a genius, and he's not just relying on technology. We never see him actually building technology. We just have to assume that his robots are doing it. Sonic goes to the Robo-Hobo Jungle. That's an interesting concept. It's where all of Eggman's used obsolete robots end up. And all of them are badniks. So my suspicion earlier was true. We don't see badniks anymore because Eggman thinks they're obsolete. I don't see why they'd be any less useful than swap bots, although, okay. Swap bots can hold weapons with their arms and they can't. So badniks are much less useful because they don't have opposable thumbs or anything. They're just there to try to bite Sonic and stuff. Pretty ineffectual when you think about it, so it makes sense logically. I just don't really like the concept that they're just ditching badniks just like that when they're pretty loved by the fan base and iconic to the series, you know? Instead, let's just use swap bots, which are only iconic to SatAM. But it makes sense, so. Sonic defeats the robots and interrogates one of them on where Nax the Weasel is. I hate that name. And somehow the robot is still able to function well enough to talk even though it's just a head now, and should have had all its oil leak out or something by now. Also, why is he saying this when in this situation, it should be obvious that Sonic would destroy him if he didn't give him the answer. And just because Fang worked with Eggman twice doesn't mean random badniks knowing his location makes sense. Why would Fang have gone here so that they'd find out where he is? What does Fang have to gain by going to this place? This is very arbitrary. He's told to go to a seedy bar that somehow hasn't been torn down by Knothole for being seedy, or destroyed by Mecha Sonic. I like how Sonic used the super peel out to get past the ape guarding the bar and give him the punch he deserves, straight through the wall. That'll show you for obstructing the hero of the world. Sonic has a pretty badass line saying, "All you lowlifes hit the road." I don't trust Fang not to try to attack Sonic anyways, even if his hands are up. And yep, his hands were on sticks, and his real hands were holding knockout gas guns, which knock Sonic out so that he can try to get his reward from Eggman once again. Only this time, he's wise to Eggman's tricks, and demands that he transfers the funds to his account first, and then he'll get the coordinates of Sonic. So he's pretty smart. Wait a minute, account? An escaped fugitive has a bank account. How did he get that? Is it like a Swiss bank account with a fake identity? In a world where he's got no access to the internet, how would that even work? The only working bank would be one Knothole, which he's obviously not welcome in. And how does anyone let him pay for stuff instead of calling the cops from recognizing the infamous sniper? Does he wear a disguise? A Groucho Marx pair of big nose and glasses? Fortunately, Sonic wakes up in his vehicle in time to punch him, which honestly feels really contrived like a Deus Ex Machina, because it's not made clear exactly how much time Sonic has passed in the vehicle, nor how long the knockout gas is supposed to last. Fang had no trouble with getting him to Eggman without him waking up last time, and it's not explained that he used too little of the gas this time either. Also, knocking someone out with gas is actually a pretty delicate process in real life. You'd have to know the person's exact weight so that you won't use too much, which would kill them, or too little, like possibly right now. Sonic threatens Eggman with sending in an ion sky sled on autopilot to Robotropolis and setting it to self-destruct. Why the hell would there be a self-destruct mechanism on it in the first place? Another Deus Ex Machina. Sonic then fortunately does that and explodes Robotropolis instead of making a deal with Eggman and expecting him to hold up his end of the bargain. So that's good. And he returns to Sally and Rotor, who know what happened, and explains that he had to pop out the windscreen, whatever that is, of Rotor's wrist tracker and use it as a gas mask filter. Why did the Freedom Fighters even bother making him wear that wrist tracker if he could just take it off or destroy it that easily? I'm pretty sure ankle monitors, from what I've seen in Arrested Development, aren't that easy to take off. And it sure is convenient that when he brings Fang over to Sally and Rotor, everyone believes Sonic instead of accusing him of having coerced a confession out of him through intimidation. For all they know, that's what happened. The only explanation is that Sally only believes him because she wants to believe him and have an excuse to get him out of trouble. It's annoying that when Sally says she'll make a public apology, even though it's Antoine and Bunny who should fucking apologize. For some reason, Sonic doesn't want an apology from his own friends betraying him, and doesn't hold any sort of grudge against them whatsoever. Right, that's normal, realistic human behavior. He considers being allowed back on the team its own reward, that there's too much work to be done. Granted, this was foreshadowed by him saying that he should be out helping, not being treated like a villain, but this is a really light reaction to what just happened. And sadly, the story ends right when Antoine is showing egoism, instead of letting us see him get punished for bringing up charges against them. At least show him getting hit with a stick. He's the one who deserves that at this point, not Sonic. This is a very unsatisfying ending. Sure, Sonic gets out of trouble, but he deserves a proper apology from everyone, especially the ones who actually antagonized him in the first place. But we don't see Bunny get redeemed for the horrible way she acted, and Antoine get the slap in the face and humiliation he deserves. Honestly, I would have rewritten this ending to have both Sally and Sonic punch him in the face, and then Antoine has to deliver a public apology. That would be karmic comeuppance and a satisfying ending. It would properly wrap everything up, but it just ends. At this point, I'd be happy to see Antoine get pranked and bullied. This kind of moment is when Antoine should get pranked, not in situations where he'll just look like a victim. Sonic's supposed to be a karmic trickster after all, not a bully. But they learned that lesson a little too early considering he deserves it right now. I know Bunny had gotten injured by Megasonic, but she knows he had no free will at the time. It's not like she's still injured now. She doesn't have a broken leg or anything. So her holding a grudge for that still is out of character. Her antagonistic bitch attitude of the story is just inexcusable, and she never apologizes for it. I don't think it's satisfying to have that kind of apology off screen. Logically, Sonic should still be holding a grudge against his friends for this kind of treatment for several issues to come, or at the very least have a hard time trusting them for a while after this. But instead we're expected to believe he's such a perfect little Gary Stu that he has no hard feelings at all, and no hurt feelings at all. Despite being shown absolute proof that his friends could and would turn on him like a pack of rabid wolves if the writer wanted them to. And no, there's no backstory on that subject. It's strange to say that this overly frustrating and depressing story was written by Mike Gallagher, the lighthearted writer, remember. For all the complaining people make about the writing of Penders, you'd think this should be a story arc by him. I've already pretty much summarized my thoughts on this issue. Like, the main things about it that I didn't expect as problems were that it was relying a lot on Deus Ex Machinas. A lot of the times it was very contrived that Sonic would get to this point and get free. Like, the Hobo Jungle, having people actually, well, Badniks, I guess, actually know where Fang was for some reason. And Sonic waking up in time in Fang's vehicle to attack him, and a self-destruct mechanism being on his vehicle. Although I did also like the fact that Sally was clearly siding with Sonic, and like, Rotor was clearly still on his side too. I liked that, and I loved Sonic's lines in the story, because it was so cathartic. Like, lines are the best when you can really relate to those lines, and, like, you would definitely feel like you'd say them in that situation. So, like, I guess I overall enjoyed the story more than issue 39. Because issue 39 was just doom and gloom the whole way through, with Sonic spending most of it as a robot and his friends treating him like a traitor instead of feeling sorry for him. But here, like, there were actually lines that I liked from it. It's just that the whole premise of the story is the most enraging in the comics so far. So I'm torn as to whether this is the worst issue so far or not. But I just hate the premise of this. Or I guess premise, whatever. I've been calling it premise my whole life. It's absolutely enraging that Sonic's friends would treat him like this. Even if he wasn't innocent, he should still get a much less steep punishment. You'd think being the most powerful and capable freedom fighter with supersonic speed and stuff would be more than enough to warrant special treatment. But no, that's too smart for him apparently. Honor before reason. It's an idiot plot, plain and simple. And honestly, the worst part about it is the ending. It's unsatisfying, as it doesn't give the friends who antagonize Sonic the punishment that they deserve, nor any sort of redemption. This kind of disgusting portrayal by them that wouldn't make me feel safe around them is just swept under the rug. It's not very good writing, to be honest. Next up is issue 41, and honestly I'm so happy to be past this depressing story arc. I have nothing but high hopes for the future after this point. Hell, even the, like, Knuckles Returns issue, I'm looking forward to compared to this.